Hi YouTube, welcome to another video of Kit Your Van Out. Today we are looking up the lighting. Basically I want to run through how I wired all the lights in on this van and the 12 volt system. So basically I'm going to take you down to the battery area first and we can show you what's going on down in the corner. Basically in the corner of this van we moved the cushions in the corner. We'll open up the little cover here. Hang on, put the curtain tie back around it so it don't fall, and put that light on. Right, basically down here we got two batteries here at the time at the minute, and nor this one. This one's out of use at the minute. I'll go on that in a minute. Basically you got your battery. This is a caravan, boat, motorhome, leisure battery. The terminals are clipped onto the right one, positive and negative. Basically I've brought two heavy duty leads back to what they call a sort of joiner block, but we call them chocolate blocks really. Basically you fit your negative and live onto the chocolate block, and then you start taking your feeds from that point on. It's a big one down there, so it'll take a lot of wires. You might need to do another spur off that and put maybe another one up, depends on how much electrical items you plan to run. Basically all these leads run to up here. This side goes to the 12 volt lights, the spotlights, which one is on at the minute, lighting up the battery area. The one underneath it, which is the one closest to the wall here, goes over to the USB charging point, and from the USB charging point I feed my 12 volt water pump of that over to the kitchen side. These leads run up and round. Everything is fused, as you can probably see over here. I would recommend fusing stuff. Some people will just put a fuse line onto the battery live, but maybe like a 30 amp and do with it. But if you're away and if you blew the fuse, you lost all your lights and everything down, and you can't really, you're in a muddle then trying to find what you're doing. So basically my first one is connected to the 12 volt lights on the ceiling, the two strip lights. One I just showed you one off at the beginning of the video. The one beside it is the my winch I got, but we don't really need to talk about the winch today. That is obviously just for my stationary engines, really pulling things up through the back doors. The one beside it, on the modern caravans there used to be 7-pin plugs, but they're 13 pins into one connector now. So you need a live on the battery which feeds the sort of electrical brake system on the caravan. So that's what this feed is from. But this feed comes down into this fuse box and out and back across over here, and it goes into the main battery of the van. So obviously we don't want to drain this battery for towing the caravan. One beside it is a, trying to think now, USB point charger which we're pointed to. The one on the end is the two spotlights which I've just mentioned about on the ceiling. There's two, there's one over that side as well. Yeah, it's pretty easy to do. When you get your wires, just do one wire at a time if you're not too sure. You got your say black and red or brown and blue. You bring, say if we started off down here with one cable, you connect your black to the black which is going to the battery, the red to the red which is going to the battery. You bring it up to wherever you want to put your fuse box to. You leave the black as it is for the time being. You just take it straight past the fuse box. The red you will cut, and then you obviously put one joint in this end and one underneath, and then the fuse bridges over that gap. So if anything's shorted out, that fuse will trip or blow, and then basically you've got to put another fuse back in. So that's the safest system to do. You never know, you could be travelling down the road and one of these wires could chafe against a piece of metal, and then obviously it come live and it can really knacker the battery. You could blow the battery up really, so it's better have them fused individually. Yeah, I just thought I'd do a little video just to show really how I've done it. But obviously you put as big as a chocolate block that you can put, and take all your feeds from that. Watch taking too much off one feed, if you know what I mean. I wouldn't like to take, say, a wire from here to chocolate block and then loads off that up to a ceiling. That's only just got this one down here. It's got 2 singles going in it and 2 doubles going in it. That's the 2 spotlights on the ceiling, that is. I've got a big thick wire which runs down behind the seat. You can see that. He runs all the way down the back. Well, you can see that. It's just on the corner there. And he feeds the 12-volt CD player or car stereo. So basically a flick of a switch under here. We've got your stereo on them. So that's what, any feed I took from that line. I haven't put a fuse on it because the CD player has got a 10 amp fuse on the back, so it didn't really need another one on that line. As long as I'm not going to go add nothing else to that cable at the back. If I happen to add any more wires, feed it off from that cable from the CD player, I would fuse it in the end. Basically, first of all, I start with normal car batteries, but you lose charge quite quick, and then you charge them up and they don't fully charge up again because they ain't got the alternator C from the van charging them, so you just end up killing them. So I went out and bought a brand new Leisure battery yesterday, and they're meant to last about 6 years guaranteed life sort of time on them. What's recommended from Life Expandant. Take a lot longer to charge, but they discharge slower. Someone asked me the other day, how do I charge my batteries up instead of not actually taking them out of the van and putting them in the garage? You can put a split charger from your alternator from the front of the main van to this one. I don't want to do that because I've got quite a bit on the alternator now. I've got extra lights on the van. I don't want to go overloading the alternator. And plus I don't use it all the time, this back battery. It don't need charging all the time. So basically I have bought in a 240 volt plug socket here, and that 240 volt plug socket goes into the back here. Now, well, you can see that, guys. There's a little grey box there. That's the ECU unit. So basically that's like what you get indoors for your main fuse board supply. Off that is a 240 hookup connector, like you get on the side of your motorhomes, caravans. You get that plastic flap which lift up, and then you plug the 3-pin blue connector up into it, and then I took that indoors. But you can buy a ZIG unit which deals with the 12 volt system and the 240 system, but they're very dear. They can be anything from 60 to 100 quid, even more. So I don't want to go spending money like that. So mostly someone said, it's alright, you got your 240 in, but still, how do you charge your battery? Just go out and buy a cheap 12 volt car battery charger. It'll sit down in here, put a couple of cable ties around that bar, and then when I'm not using it for like a week, I can put them on charge all week while I'm here. And then when I'm away, disconnect that charger, take them out, and then I'm away again. Only thing I've got to really do to this van to make it more safe, these batteries should be strapped in, but I've never had no problems sliding around yet. I'm keeping that battery. He's quite a good charge in that one. Just keep that for a backup. You never know, you might need a backup. So I just thought this might help you, a little sort of 12 volt sort of wiring supply, a little bit into 240. I'm not an electrician by trade and nothing. It's just generally being careful what you're doing. Like I said, do one cable at a time. If you draw it out on a piece of paper, mark out what cable does what. I know what every one of this does, but if I sold a van tomorrow, no one will have a clue what all this means. So it's worth writing it down on a piece of paper, and then when you happen to sell your van or anything, people know what all the fuses are for. I started off with basically now I'll run you through, I think, the lights on the top. Hang on, I've got to get a torch here a minute. The lights on the ceiling are a 5 amp fuse. That's what they are. The what's the one beside it? Cigarette lighter is a 5 amp. One beside that for the caravan is a 20 amp. One on the end here is a 10 amp. That's for the USB point. Yeah, sorry, I got this wrong there. So yeah, 5 amp on the end for the lights on the ceiling. My winch is a 5 amp. Hang on, could be even wrong again, YouTubers. Hang on, let me get it in there. You can't quite see what that one on the end is. Right, the end one here is a 15 amp. That's what the ceiling is. Right, that's correct. 15 amp is the one on the 2 strip lights on the ceiling. One beside it is a 5 amp, which is my winch at the front. The one beside that is a 20 amp. That's for the caravan 12 volt supply. The green one on the end is a 10 amp. That's for that cigarette lighter USB point. And one on the end is a 5 amp for the 2 spotlights, which is shining down on top of us at the minute. I did have a 5 amp in my what's it called, the USB point one, but it keep blowing. And plus I've took, like I said, I've had to feed of that to the water pump, so I've put a 10 amp and then I'll man it up a bit. Yeah, so basically that's what that is. Obviously you can go into more trickiness of wiring and light switches and stuff onto the ceiling. And obviously that's my winch beside it, 240. There's that USB point on the end. I basically ran the cable underneath this door strip and around the wheel arch into the cupboard. Got a little flick switch there from a 12 volt water pump. I can't yet turn it on because I haven't got no water in there, so I don't want to mess up the pump. So if this video has been helpful to any of you people, sorry I got a bit muddled up about the fuses, but I have gotten correct at the end. Yeah, any comments or anything, any questions, put in the comments below. I'll get back and answer them as soon as I can. Just telling you now, obviously my van account is Kit Your Van Out, but I've got another YouTube account called Cornish Engines, and I'm normally logged into Cornish Engines on my phone. So if I see any of your comments on underneath my sort of van ones, if you get any replies from Cornish Engines saying how to do and what to do and stuff, don't go thinking what the hell is this, it's me. It's just easier doing it through that one sometimes. So if you get a reply back from Cornish Engines, it is still me. Okay, so I think I'm going to call it end of the day for the video. I think I'm going to go enjoy the sun for the day. It's absolutely burning off out here now. It's getting a bit warm. There's a little bit of frost this morning, but no, it's going to be a bright day, I think. So hope this video's been good for you lot, and thank you for watching. Cheers and go on.